Like most people outside of Poland, I first became interested in the Witcher universe when I played the computer games made by CD Projekt Red. And when I played the games, I just saw that there's a lot of references to the books, and then I decided that I had to read the books to understand the games even better. The first two books about The Witcher are actually a compilation of short stories. And I read about these short stories and I decided which one I wanted to make into a film. And I went for The Lesser Evil because The Lesser Evil is kind of groundbreaking and saying a lot about the Geralt character, because it's the story that makes him the Butcher of Blaviken. The Butcher of Blaviken is something he's called all through the books and even in the games. The thing he does in this story really just sticks to him his entire life. And that is why I went for The Lesser Evil. The original script was based on the entire Lesser Evil story, so you would see Geralt meet Renfri, you would meet Stregobor, the wizard that Renfri hates, you would meet Coldamain, the alderman in Blaviken. All of this would be part of the story. But just when we were beginning to start shooting, I realized that, okay, it might not be possible to do the entire story because people, my friends, really didn't have that much time to do it, and there's a lot of things you have to consider, like the weather had to be good when you're filming outside, and you have to have access to your location, and it was just a hard time to plan it all. So I decided, okay, instead of filming for 12 days, that was the original plan, then okay, we film for 3 days instead and just concentrate on the ending of the story. So the actual movie just ended up being the climax of the entire script and the climax of the Lesser Evil story. In the pre-production, when I was talking with the co-writers of where to shoot the film, I think my first idea was to shoot it at the Medieval Center. That is where we actually ended up doing it. But we had some other ideas as well, because the problem with the Medieval Center was that we were filming in the summer and there's a lot of visitors during the summer. So that is why I was looking at some other places too, and I found this cool place called the Medieval Village. And in the Medieval Village, that's a place for students, so it's closed during the summer, so we could film there. And I did some shooting there, and I thought it was a pretty cool place, but the only problem was that it's placed right next to a highway, so you can just hear the cars driving by all the time. So I ended up deciding, okay, I don't want to dub the whole movie, so we looked some other places. And I found a pretty cool place in Sorø, right next to where I live. There's some cool looking buildings. They're kind of like Renaissance buildings, and that fits pretty well to some of the cities you see in the Witcher stories. Kind of matches, Novigrad or Oxenford or some of the big cities like that. And as far as I remember, Blaviken is a pretty big city in the books. And then I got permission to film at the Medieval Center eventually, and that is what we did. But again, it's very far away from where I live, so we had to shoot it in quite a rush. Usually when you make a fantasy movie, there's a lot of stuff you have to consider when you talk about costumes and props and stuff like that. But in this movie, we really didn't have a lot of money, actually had no money, so we had to use stuff that we already had lying around. Like these swords, for example. That's swords I had bought for other fantasy movies. And I had to reuse costumes from those movies as well. But we did some tests with how Geralt should look, and to begin with, he had some more dark clothing on. But I think it made him too dark, because he's not the bad guy in the story, and that's what separates Renfri. She's all dark because she is a tragic character. But Geralt had to be more light because he is kind of the good guy, right?
Du skal nok selv. Jeg kan ikke.
Okay.
Jo, jeg har det her.
Sådan der, super.
Okay, og så lad os se, hvor højt jeg kan få det ud. Det er jeg lidt spændt på, for jeg kan formodentlig ikke få det hele ud. Det er så langt jeg kan. Og så skal jeg faktisk ned her, og så lige... Og så...
Okay, der må man bruge lidt filmmagi.
A thing I really had to take into consideration was how Geralt's hair should be, because Geralt is known for having white hair. He's called the White Wolf. So my hair had to be white. And initially I was thinking about dyeing my hair white because it would be a pretty long story initially. But then we decided to make it only a short movie. And then I would not like to dye my hair because it would be too sad for just 2 scenes. So, well, what we ended up doing was spray painting my hair instead.
Hvorfor? Hvordan det fungerer det der. Det lugter meget godt.
But I think it ended up looking okay, but some places you can see that the spray paint has hit my scalp as well. But anyway, I think it looked okay. It's way better than the idea of using a wig that we also talked about. But also the idea was, how should Geralt's hair look? Because should he have hair loose, or should he have his hair in a ponytail, or should he have some of his hair back and then the other hair loose? But we ended up deciding that he had to have ponytail because the spray paint, it makes your hair really stiff. And really stiff hair doesn't look good when it's loose. So in a ponytail, you wouldn't see the hair would be so stiff. So that's what we did. We went for the ponytail.
I chose to save this town from slaughter. And now you're Batman. I'm Batman.
No. The other costumes for the story was pretty easy to find because I let all the characters decide for themselves. I was lucky that all of them were actually live-action role players, so they all had their own equipment. So it was pretty easy. And I was lucky enough that all of them spoke pretty good English as well, because all of us are from Denmark, but I think they did a pretty good job speaking English. And there's one guy who doesn't say anything in the story, and it's not because he doesn't speak good English, it's just because the guy in the story doesn't say anything. It's actually 2 guys, it's 2 twins in the Lesser Evil story, but I narrowed it down to 1 guy because we didn't have time to make a double.
Yes, my axe is it. Fuck.
My ass is itchy.
This little movie was really filmed in quite a hurry because we only had 3 days to film. Actually, we only had 2 days of shooting because the first day was me just doing some establishing shots.
And action.
So I had 2 days with the other actors. 1 day with me and Renfrey doing the Renfrey fight scene. And then we had another day with all of the other henchmen. And, well, we were filming at this medieval center. It's a museum, so we could only do filming outside of the opening hours. And that means we were doing filming between 6 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock in the morning. And then we continued filming at 5 o'clock in the afternoon until it was too dark to film anymore. And maybe in some of the footage you can see it's a bit too dark because we were just filming everything we could. That also meant that we only had like 2 hours to film the entire fight between me and Renfrey's henchmen. And if you should compare it to anything, let's say I've made fantasy movies before, and I had a scene where I had a fight with 1 guy, and it took 12 hours to shoot an entire day. And here we had 2 hours to film a fight between me and 4 or 5 other guys. So that was really tight. But I think we winged it pretty well. It turned out okay when you take into consideration that we didn't have any time to do it.
Good thing this isn't a fair fight then. After you.
What I find fascinating about the Witcher universe is how real it feels. There's no bad guys, there's no good guys, there's just guys. It's a universe where everything is a gray area. Geralt, the main character, is also a bit shady sometimes. And, you know, like in the Lesser Evil story, there's no evil, really evil in the story. That's the whole point of the story, actually. They're talking about the Lesser Evil and who is actually evil. So, like Renfrey, she's not really evil. She's just a very sad character. And even her henchmen, yeah, they are kind of evil, but the henchman makes Renfri really able to live, and that is why she tries to kill Geralt. It's because Geralt kills her friends. And Stregobor the wizard, he's not in my movie, but he's in the story and the original script. And Stregobor, yeah, he did some experiments on Renfri, but he did that because he thought it was a good idea. Again, it's a longer story that I would not get into here. But just keep in mind that everyone is, there's no bad guys really in this story. It's just a sad, tragic story that ends up killing both Renfri and her friends. Renfri is a character I like very much because she has a very sad backstory. She's kind of like the dark Snow White. She is a princess.
The queen, my stepmother, she hated me. She cursed me and sent me to Stregobor, who made experiments on me. But when they went wrong, they hired a huntsman to take me into the forest and kill me. Only he didn't. He raped me instead. But I got to his knife and sliced his throat.
And then instead of meeting 7 dwarves, she met 6 highwaymen. And then she became a robber instead. That is actually the story about Renfri.
And I've been killing, robbing and whoring my way to survive ever since.
That would have been in the original script. But yeah, we had to cut it out to make it a shorter story. But that is something I miss. Someday I would really like to have the original script out because I like the original script. There's a lot of cool scenes in, like, yeah, there's a scene where Geralt, he meets Renfri's henchmen in an inn. They're sitting there drinking. And that scene, you would even see some guys playing dice poker. I had the original dice poker dices, and I would have loved to see that scene as well. I would have loved to see Stregobor as a character as well. But I hope that someday I will do the entire script. Maybe I'm thinking about doing it as a motion comic or something like that. That would be awesome. So I hope you will see the entire script someday.